Hey, good afternoon once again. How we doing this afternoon? We doing all right? Got a good something, nice something to eat? Good something to eat? All right. That's great. That's great. I love that song by Walk the Moon, by the way. That's a good one. Hey, I know you're all wondering where the tie bid is. We're at $900 and climbing, so we'll be giving that away at the banquet tonight. Both the Hope tie and Bill Nye will be here to sign a tie for whoever wins that bid. Once again, a little housekeeping. I want to remind everybody that they need to wear their badges for entry into tonight's dinner and dance. All right, hey, let's get started this afternoon, all right? We've got a great panel discussion coming up this afternoon. And how poignant, right? It's we've got a real dynamic group of folks coming up here talking about, the real life strategies of living with ataxia. And heading up is our facilitator from our own NAF office, Dr. Celeste Stewart. Please welcome Celeste and our panelists, Kyle Bryant, Daniel Gavern, and Ellie Martin, please. There we go. All right.
We're getting up here.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, everyone. Hope you've been having a great AAC. Whew, it's close to the edge of the stage.
There we go.
Well,
Nice.
It's Saturday,
Right.
which means you've been
Hey,
here
hey,
for a
listen,
little
baby.
bit, and probably over the course of AAC you found that there's no one way to have ataxia, and there's no one way to live with ataxia.
Celeste,
But
get
this
it.
is the Living with Ataxia panel, so we're going to talk about some of the ways you can move about this world. If we haven't had the chance to meet yet, oh, I don't think our slides are up here. Can we get a little bit of help with that? It's fine, we can just talk over them. Thank you so much. This is, if you're in the right place, it's the Living with Ataxia panel discussion. If we haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Celeste Stewart. I'm the Patient Engagement Manager for the National Ataxia Foundation, and it's my privilege to be the moderator for this session. We have all the same disclaimers that have been at every other session before this, but on to the important stuff, our speakers. So we're going to kick off with some introductions. Let's introduce our speakers. So could you please tell us your name, where you're from, what type of ataxia you have, and a little bit about your diagnostic journey. Kyle, how about you kick us off?
Sure, yeah. My name is Kyle Bryant. I'm originally from Northern California, and I live in Pennsylvania now, so shout out to all those people from PA. And I was diagnosed with Friedreich's ataxia when I was 17. My skills in baseball were going downhill, and I was like 14, 15 years old. And at that point, everything should be improving. But I was unable to run down the fly ball in the outfield, and my throws were going off target. So we started looking for answers. It took over a year to get a diagnosis because doctors didn't know what it was. And I'm sure most people here know what that's all about. So I was really scared, and my family was scared. That's how it started. I think we're going to get into a little more, but that's my diagnostic journey.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns at the beginning. Thank you for sharing, Kyle. Ellie, how about you introduce yourself next?
Hi, I'm Ellie. I'm 27, and I have a rare form of cerebellar ataxia called ATITHS, and it's ataxia, intention tremor, and hypertonia syndrome. And I found out in 2021, but I had symptoms since birth. I started seeing a neurologist when I was 10 months old and having in-home therapies. And I had eye surgery at 2 years old because my eye muscles were very weak, along with the rest of my muscles. And after that, I continued having therapies until 2017 when I took the whole exome sequencing test, and they found out that I had a rare gene mutation in the POU4F1 gene. And, but it was very unknown at that time until 2 years later when I got contacted from my neurologist saying that they found three other kids that had the same mutation as me. And so fast forward to 2021 when the study was published and the new form of cerebellar ataxia was named. And right now they have between 13 to 15 kids who have the same mutation. And currently I'm still the oldest one who has this. But right after my diagnosis, I joined NAF to find more information about ataxia and more doctors who specialized in it.
Well, we're happy to have you here, Ellie. And last but certainly not least, Daniel, could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Thank you, Celeste. Hi, I'm Daniel Gavern. I am 37 years old. I was diagnosed with acquired cerebellar ataxia in 2018. And I was up in the Bay Area, so maybe not too far from you, Kyle. And really it was my employer. I worked in kitchens, and the chef, that is what triggered me to start my medical investigation of everything. Prior to that, I didn't know about ataxia or anything. In fact, looking back on it, I believe I've always had some semblance, but I just had nothing to compare it to, so I just figured that was how it was. Mm-hmm. And kind of like you, Ellie, but I soon got involved with NAF after that, and boy, what a seeing everyone, it really helps to know you're not the only person out there, I guess.
Definitely, having that community can be so important. And thanks for the three of you for sharing your stories here today. Now, the three of you started experiencing ataxia symptoms at different ages. Ellie, you've had symptoms from birth. Kyle, you had them in childhood. Daniel, you started experiencing symptoms as an adult. Could you share with us a bit how you were feeling when you finally got that diagnosis? Daniel, how about you kick us off?
Sure. I liken it to the dark times in the ataxia journey, where you just have confusion and everything is unknown, and it's, you don't know what's going on, don't know how to explain yourself. I've had quite a number of that, not growing up, but leading up to my late 20s when I started looking into everything. So unfortunately, the feelings being diagnosed with ataxia was, what a relief to get diagnosed and to have some sort of answer, I guess, some sort of like, okay, it's something. But for me, it was just largely unknown. I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, and sort of that weighing in that uncertainty. Kyle, what was it like for you when you were finally diagnosed?
It was a lot of uncertainty because you see the stuff online, you read about FA, and you see stuff like wheelchairs and shortened lifespan and reliance on others, and that's a really scary thing. But coming to meetings like this, actually this very meeting a long time ago was where I learned that I wasn't alone, that other people who are in the ataxia world are happy and smart and successful, and all the things, or many of the things that I wanted for myself. And I think the wonderful thing about being part of this community is that you can observe other people and you can be like, oh my gosh, I want that for myself, and you can adopt that. But also, you can be like, I never want that for me. and you can kind of pick and choose, you know,
Both
what you
ways.
take from others and what you kind of leave behind. So, yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? But anyway, so, you know, along with all the uncertainty was this surprise of a wonderful community that I was now a part of.
It sounds like with those, to use Daniel's phrase, the dark times, and that uncertainty, that connecting with that community kind of helped raise you up into having some of those connections.
Yep.
Wonderful. And Ellie, how about you share with us a little bit? What were you feeling? As your diagnosis was far more recent. What was that like?
Well, when I was little, the doctors kept on misdiagnosing me.
Yeah.
They said it was either CP or I had a lack of oxygen at birth. And that was very frustrating. But when I finally got my diagnosis, I mostly felt relieved that there was a name for it, and I didn't have to search for we didn't have to search for answers anymore. And but it also felt lonely because I had this rare mutation.
Yeah.
And that only a couple people had. And they were all little kids, so I couldn't really relate to them. But, and I didn't know anyone with ataxia yet. So before my diagnosis, I just wanted to fit in, and I wanted to be like everyone else and do what they're doing. So when I turned 16, I wanted to drive, to take my driver's test because that's what everybody else was doing. So I wanted to be like them. And I took it at the rehab hospital where I had all my therapies, and I didn't end up passing it. And for a long time after that, I felt like I couldn't do anything. But I had to start reminding myself of all the things that I can do instead of can't do. And that way of thinking has helped me get through a lot.
Well, thanks for sharing with us, Ellie. I think that positioning of focusing on the can and less on the can't can be helpful for a lot of folks. Well, on that note, you were talking, all three of you mentioned a little bit about the supports you had on the way, doing your diagnostic journey, connecting with NAF, but let's dive into that a little bit more. What does your support system look like currently, and has it changed since you connected with NAF? Ellie, how about you kick us off for this one?
Well, my family helps me out a lot. It's my support system, and they help me with fundraising or raising awareness for ataxia. But I did also have a few friends in high school that I thought were going to be in my support system, but they ended up not. They ended up not being in my system, and that was really hard to accept. But sometimes friends just come and go, but now I do have friends that actually want to know more about ataxia and help me when I need it, and they when you're dealing with ataxia, it's important to surround yourself with people that you love, because they help you get through hard times, or they help you just take your mind off things. And that's why I love coming to NAF, the NAF conference, because I was super nervous my first time, but I didn't realize that I would make my own little family here.
Could you tell us a little bit? I can see them in the front row here. Oh, sorry. Don't let me interrupt. Well, I'm just seeing in the front row here the under 30 support group, which made sure to get prime seats to see this panel and support you. Maybe could you tell us a little bit about your involvement with them?
Yeah, it's really nice to have people who actually understand what you're going through and how you're feeling, and help each other out when we need it, or when we're having bad days, we just text each other in the group chat and just give our words of encouragement to people. And we go and whenever we meet all together, we like to spend as much time as possible, and because it helps a lot.
Totally. It's nice to be with people who just understand, and I'm glad you found that with the under 30 group. Daniel, could you share us a bit about what your support network looks like? You're also involved with support groups.
Sure. Yeah, 100%. The NAF support groups, like, it's everything I know about ataxia, and I'm very pleased to know everyone that I do know, if that makes sense. And the support groups is where it's at as far as I'm concerned. I'm really happy to help out with that and be involved and to know everyone. And yeah, just knowing the support system for me primarily is the support groups, but just knowing people in this life, in this predicament that we're in.
Yeah. And did that change at all after your first AAC?
Good call. It's only gotten better and better. My first AAC was here in Las Vegas 2 years ago, in 23, and it was very overwhelming in a good way to see everyone and to interact and be able to talk with people in real life. And now, it's only 2 years later, but like, it's like, oh, I know like Lisa Cole over in Florida, or I know, Don and Howard in the Las Vegas group that I help with. Now I know Kyle, and now I know Ellie, now I know you. And I've seen.
Yeah. Time flies, and those connections can grow and bloom. And Kyle, can you share us a little bit about your support system, what that looks like?
Yeah, my support system changes over time. Obviously, my parents, I was 17 when I was diagnosed, and my parents are still a huge part of my support system, but, a lot of it now is my friends at work. I live on the other side of the country from my family, so I rely on a different set of people. My support system changed when I made that move. A lot of people at work, and then I bought a condo in 2020, and it's in this really amazing tight-knit community, and I rely on a lot of my neighbors now. And actually, I don't know, they like have taken me in. I put my garbage out on my porch last week, and I was like, I'm gonna take this out in the morning, because just getting it ready and then I go outside in the morning and it's gone. Somebody had taken it for me, because people walk by all the time, they know me, and so that's the kind of stuff that happens when you have a great community, a good support system. Simple stuff like that. And so, even though it's evolved over time, it still remains strong.
That's wonderful. It's those little moments of kindness here and there that build up and really make that network. Speaking of little moments of kindness, I know yesterday, well, there was a big moment of kindness we were talking about trikes and the trike donation that happened yesterday at the meet and greet. And all three of you, if we can go to the slides, fantastic. All three of you have experience using trikes as assistive devices. So let's chat a little bit about that. So could you share with us a bit about your experience maybe with trikes or other assistive devices or any supportive therapies that you have found helpful in your ataxia journey? Kyle, how about you start us off? Because you have a lot of experience in this area.
Yeah, my trike is the place that I always want to be. No matter who I hang out with or how much fun we're having. You may have heard me say this before, but no matter how much fun we're having, I'd always rather be on my trike. So no offense to anyone. But, you know, I rode my trike to the NAF conference a few thousand miles a few years ago, and it's something I really love. And I think for me, it's that thing that I can look forward to, and like I said, that I really love. And you know, it's different for everybody, but I think for me, it's important to have this thing that I can count on, that I know reliably it's gonna lift my mood and maybe, like you said, take my mind off of things and let me just be for a little while. And so I love my trike, and I love the action that it's allowed. You know, in the beginning, I know we've all felt helpless, and I certainly did. My family did, and we started raising money, partly through bike rides. And my mom says that fundraising is our therapy, because it's a way we can take action when we feel so helpless, and we can raise a few dollars and you know, get some high fives from friends for what we're doing for ourselves. It's a really, really amazing thing. So that's partly what my trike has allowed me to do.
And also, Kyle, you mentioned earlier your condo in that tight-knit community. We've spoken about some of the design features in there that make it a little bit more accessible for you to live. Could you share with us a bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's important to just sort of think about everything that I want to do, and then think about what is keeping me from that, and put the things in place to solve those issues. And so in my apartment, I had a roll-in shower installed, for example, and whatever, a ramp up to the doorway. And I drive with hand controls. I just got a new accessible van. And so like putting all these things in place to take out barriers to allow me to do what I need to do. So like when I sit down on my trike in my living room, I ride out the door and on the bike trail. And so like that was the number one criteria when I was searching for a place to live, was somewhere near a bike trail. And so I feel like I've got hopefully my some priorities in mind, and kind of design my everything around making those things happen.
That makes total sense. What are your priorities? What are the barriers? How do you break those down?
Yeah.
And Ellie, you have had a variety of experiences with accessible devices and different supportive therapies. Can you tell us about what's worked for you?
Yeah. I have a trike that I ride a lot with my mom. Me and my mom used to ride a tandem for a couple years until I got my trike 2 years ago, and have been riding that a lot more. And I ride for when NAF does the Summer Match Challenge, and this is my coming up. This will be my 3rd year doing it. I've done it for the past 2 years, and I've rode my bike over 200 miles for the entire month of June. And last summer, it was especially difficult because that was the year of the giant cicada hatching. So, so there was a lot of days where I would just get pelted in the face by giant cicadas, and it was disgusting. But
you made it happen.
But we made it.
Kept on going. That's a new definition of barriers, giant cicadas.
Yeah, it was quite an adventure. But we also do the ride there's a Everybody Rides event in St. Charles, Illinois, and I'm planning to do the ride in the FARA event next time. And along with the therapies, I've had a lot of different therapies. I've had aquatic therapy, hippo therapy, or horse therapy, speech, occupational, physical. And right now I go between speech therapy and physical therapy, and I take a break in between those. And when I am off from therapies, I just like to go to the gym to work on my new therapy exercises to help me get stronger. But I did find one tool that really helps me a lot, which is I look on the Undefined website for a lot of tools, and because they have a lot of accessible products and blogs about like trekking or gardening or different hobbies or like different cooking utensils that you can get.
To find the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
And then Daniel, we've previously spoken about some of the DIY stuff you've done to figure out the right tool for the jobs. How about we flow into you? What advice do you have for folks?
Yeah, well, I really like you fixing up your condo to work well for you. That's exactly my attitude, like of everything. I make everything work for me. So I didn't disclose this before, but I live in a van. I do the van life, and I transport. I travel between Northeast Nevada and Southern California in my van, and I have it all worked out as the bars on top, and I can hold on, and
Awesome.
I know all the placements of everything, so it's quite a. And then with the trike that I just received, I'm like, you guys are seasoned pros. I'm like, wow. I've yet to get into it like this, but it's I've got it pretty well worked out to where I can have the trike and enjoy places and carry it with me as I go, and looking forward to that for sure.
Wonderful. It's been great to hear how each of you have customized your physical spaces or digital spaces to suit your needs so that you can get around and do what you need to do. And also, the three of you, in different ways, are all very involved with the ataxia community. So for our last question, could you please tell us a bit about how you give back and support others with ataxia? Daniel, how about you start us off with this one?
The support groups. I really chime in as much as I can, and I've hopefully not bitten off more than I can chew, but I try and I like to be very involved with that. So I help out with 3 support groups now, the Las Vegas one, the mid-age ataxia one, and the INAC, which is Indiana-based, I guess. And it's all virtual for me, obviously, because I'm like far away, and we can do that in this day and age. It's really great. But yeah, I just lend a helping hand that way, and with support groups, kind of the technical aspects of everything, and make sure we meet and confer, as it were, and it's going smoothly and everything.
Awesome. And
So-
what advice would you have for someone who maybe they haven't attended a support group meeting before, they're looking at the listings on the NAF website page, they might be a little bit nervous to come to their first meeting. What would you say to them?
Yeah, as intimidating as it may seem, it's really not. And especially now that we can do everything on the computer, on the internet, you don't even have to show your face if you don't want to. You can turn the camera off. But yeah, just being able to hear other people's stories and you can speak as much or as little as you like and get to know people in a somewhat unique way that we didn't have before, I don't think. So just come to a meeting. Just come to a meeting, that's all.
So you're here to hear first, folks. Come to a NAF support group meeting or an Ataxia support group meeting. It could really change your life. So thank you, Daniel, for sharing that and for that advice. Kyle, how do you give back? What advice would you have for folks who want to get involved?
I would say, my advice first, I guess, would be to just get involved, jump in. And, like Daniel was saying, it's scary. I remember my first NAF meeting in the Birds of a Feather, and we're all sitting in a circle, and I'm experiencing and seeing things that I've never seen before, right? And I'm kind of coming to grips with everything. And my advice is to let yourself go there. Feel, I'm going to get emotional here, but feel the feelings. Let yourself get really low and experience that and let it be a springboard to carry you into what you need to do, whatever's next. I think of it like loading a spring, right? You got to push it down first and let that be your energy into coming back and fighting like crazy and helping out other people. I think that is the other thing too, when you can discover that you have value to other people, to your friends, even just by talking to each other and sharing experiences. Understanding that you have value to someone else is such an incredible spring into what you need to get done. I contrast that when I know that I'm helping serve somebody else and they're helping serve me, and it's this incredible circular energy. I contrast that with when I was first diagnosed and thinking that life was over and nothing is going to help and this is the end. But it's not when we come together and help each other out. So those would be a couple of my pieces of advice, and I guess the way that I give back is in Ataxia and fundraising and stuff like that. And that has allowed so many personal connections. When we're at a ride, yeah, of course it's a fundraiser, but also there's 300 people there. And we're connecting with people that we might see only once a year. And we're sharing stories and advice and, I just found this cool piece of equipment, you should try that. Or there's this new movement, I found it really helps my hip or something, and sharing all those things. So getting involved in fundraising has also helped me get involved a little more deeply in the community.
Thanks, Kyle. It sounds that by helping lift others up, you've also lifted yourself up, and that's become a wonderful, positive spiral with everyone raising up together. So thank you. And last, but certainly not least, Ellie, you're involved in a ton of different advocacy efforts for ataxia and rare disease broadly. Could you share with us a bit about that?
Yeah. So I am, when I'm not working at my job, I like to either do reviews or blogs for A Day Undefined. And I have just wrote a blog for traveling on Day Undefined, and so I have to update that this time to traveling. But I also like doing fundraising for NAF, and when I'm not doing Day Undefined, I like to either do fundraising through the Artisans for Ataxia, or the Summer Match Challenge, and the walk and rolls for the Chicago area. And last year I wrote a series of blogs for NAF for the when I was interning with them. They're all about rehabilitation services for ataxia, and I wrote a ton about my own experiences with these different therapies. And I'm also a UR member for the Everyday Life Foundation. So I advocate for ataxia by talking to senators in my area for Hill Day and for Rare Across America. So yeah, I stay pretty busy.
You have a full calendar.
Yeah.
For folks who aren't familiar with what Ataxia Hill Day is, could you tell us a bit more about that? What was that experience like?
It was a very nice experience. I think we had a couple people in our group, about 5 or 6, and we met with 3 different senators in the Chicago area, and we talked to them about advocating for ataxia through the CDMRP, and they were very responsive about it, and yeah, it was a very nice experience.
Oh, wonderful. Well, thank you for doing that, Ellie. The CDMRP funds a ton of ataxia research. It makes a huge impact. And speaking of research, if in the back of your minds you've been thinking, oh, I want to do something to give back, but I'm not sure how to get started, right down our hall, the hall there, back in the entrance, we have 4 different academic research groups. We have, let's see if I can remember them all, Johns Hopkins, Kennedy Krieger, Mass General, and UC Berkeley. These are all researchers who are trying to better understand ataxia to help develop the therapies of tomorrow. So if you have time between, well, the rest of today and the banquet, and you'd like to stop by to learn about those research opportunities, I know there's a number of folks who find it valuable to try to participate in those. And not every research study will match your interests, and that's okay. But hopefully you'll be able to find something that tickles your fancy, that you want to learn a little bit more about. But if everyone could join me in thanking our speakers for sharing their experience with us, that was wonderful. And in a stunning twist of events, we've actually have 5 minutes left. I thought we were going to go right to time. So we do have time for maybe 1 or 2 quick questions if there are microphones on the floor. If not, we can also give that to the next speaker. We'll see if the microphones are coming. Sorry, folks behind the stage. I think we said, oh, we're going to take up the full time. But, oh, thank you so much, Lori. So if there are any questions for our panelists, feel free to raise your hand. Our mic runner will come to you, and we'll have time for 1 or 2 questions. Oh, I think I see a hand. Oh, sorry, we have a hand over here.
I just want to make a comment that Ellie also has some really sick dance moves that you'll see tomorrow.
All right, thank you for that comment. And then I thought I saw another hand. I'm blinded by the light, but I think there was a hand over here somewhere. Oh, so maybe I'll just repeat the question. You can nod to see if we heard it. I think the question was for Ellie, and what kind of tandem bike that you ride together with your mom? Is that the question?
She said that she didn't ride tandem anymore, so they ride bikes together. So you
Oh.
have your trike, and what does your mom ride? A regular bike?
My mom just rides a mountain bike for the gravelly roads paths.
Get the trike like Shelby's. I wanted to do the same.
Just trikes are so cool. Everyone wants to go on 3 wheels. It's a lot more stable. Any other questions for our panelists? Oh, and I see a hand right behind you, Hilary.
So I guess this could be for the whole panel. How do you guys manage the emotional aspect of having ataxia?
Ooh, good question. Who would like to kick us off?
I will. I think there's a lot of worry. There's a lot of pit in your stomach. And sometimes there's no way around that. But I think relief for that, for me, comes when I talk to other people about it. And when I hang out at places like this where you don't really have to say anything and people understand, right? And sometimes I wear it on my sleeve too, so maybe it doesn't hit me so hard right in the heart, but it's hard. I think that's probably the biggest thing, is just recognizing that it's hard, and that, like, when there is that pit in our stomach and we feel like there's nothing, like life is over, that it's okay to feel like that as long as we don't stay there, and as long as we reach out to other people. That's how I battle it.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to be in the emotion to get through the emotion.
Yep.
And it's a bit easier doing that with other folks who understand. Daniel, Ellie, anything to add?
I tend to overthink a lot of things, especially if I do something different. I think it's either, okay, it's probably because I'm tired, or am I like progressing, or things like that. And I tend to get in that like spiral head state. And but my therapist told me to always focus on today and not focus on the rest of the future, because we don't know what's going to happen. And yeah, it's scary, but we also need to stop worrying so much about it and only focus on what we can do now.
Mm-hmm. Well, how about we'll all focus on the here and now for the rest of AAC when we're all together. Can I get another round of applause for our fantastic lineup today? All right. All right, we'll exit stage right, and we'll leave you with a fantastic talk on genetic testing coming up next. Hope you have a great rest of AAC, folks. Take care.